and welcome back to our Shaolin Talks.
Hello.
Hello, I'm Martine.
I'm Janine.
And
we changed up the scenery a bit.
Yeah, we've changed up the scenery. Do you like our new table and chair? Very nice.
We thought it's cultural month, so we changed our scenery a bit to cultural setting as well.
Yeah, nice Chinese culture. Yeah, it's nice, huh? So I don't know whether you guys are back to work, but I was back to work again a couple of weeks. Are you back to work now, Janine?
Yeah, I've been back to work a while back, so yeah.
Whilst I was travelling to work today, I did notice a few things on the way to work. I noticed that it's getting a bit colder.
Yeah, leaves are falling.
Leaves are falling, and I did notice a few conkers on the floor. Mm-hmm. And I noticed there were acorns in the tree. I haven't seen any squirrels yet.
No, same.
No.
Same, no squirrels.
Yeah. So basically, I noticed we've got a little bit of a change of season coming. We're changing into autumn. And
nights are getting darker.
Yeah, it's definitely getting darker. We were practicing our martial arts outside. It was getting a lot darker. So the nights are drawing in and a little bit chilly. But we thought this would be a great topic for you guys this week. So we are going to chat with you about autumn time, and specifically about autumn festivals. So what is practiced during this time of year, and all around the world, different cultures sort of celebrating different ways in which to bring in this season, in the autumn season. So autumn is a kind of a transition time. It's a time from summer into winter. And the autumn equinox apparently falls on the 22nd of September.
This year. So, Martine.
Oh no!
What is the autumn equinox?
Autumn equinox. Well, I've actually done my research. So apparently the autumn equinox or equinox is a time when the day and the night are completely equal in length. Mm-hmm. And it is when the sun is exactly above the equator. Yeah. So apparently this time is really significant, especially in transitioning the seasons.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of it has a lot of importance in lots of cultures, because I think also from history, like harvesting feasts and autumn feast, they use this time as well, kind of to celebrate, but also to follow certain rituals and think of ways of like how they live and so on.
Yeah, it's definitely a transitionary time. I can't speak today. Transitionary time, and it's a time for in Chinese medicine. It's actually a time for letting go. Yeah, it's a really important time of year. And things are kind of moving inwards and things are slowing down a little bit. And as you said, it is a time of harvest, associated with harvest. And it kind of like in the UK, it's a time we do celebrate like a harvest festival. Mm-hmm. And it's a time when we kind of reap the rewards of what we've grown throughout the rest of the year. So we kind of like celebrate.
Usually, I quite like autumn. Well, it's like early autumn. Because it's like really the colours are really nice. In nature you have. It's not just green and this, but you get like all the autumn colours from yellow, brown, oranges, and red. I do love those colours. And sometimes people also, when you harvest, obviously, it's like during the summer you work hard, you harvest all your fruits and crops and whatever. And then obviously people can celebrate once they've done the hard work. Yeah. And I think that's what we want to explore today as well, to see how did people celebrate all over the world, and how do they make, what do they make with all this plentiful food and things like that? Yeah,
I think in the UK we have the Harvest Festival. You probably don't get a chance to see it much out and about sort of in festivals, but I remember when we were at school we definitely celebrated the harvest, and that usually falls on a full moon. So it's the harvest full moon, and sometimes you can go out and you can see this massive moon. It was really scary. Sometimes you can see it in England. It's like huge, like big sort of orange moon, and I remember at school we would it would be a Thanksgiving time, so we would come together and we would bring in sort of gifts and thank you for all of the food and also we would use. I remember bringing in like cans of baked beans and all kinds of stuff like that, and then we kind of all the food that would be collected and then it would be sent off to like homeless or to charities or something like that. So it's a really lovely appreciate appreciate what you have and spend time with your friends and your family and I think these kind of traditions this kind of harvest time it's kind of reflected through lots of different cultures, isn't it? And it has when we were exploring them, these same themes kind of came up every time. It was really lovely, and so normally it's celebrated on the full moon of the autumn equinox. I think it's around about the 22nd and 23rd of September. So this is kind of the festival that we celebrate in the UK, and I think there are kind of similar festivals. So in America they have their Thanksgiving. Obviously you've got the Mid-Autumn Festival in China. We have the Jewish festival as well, and there's one in Iran and India and Nepal and all over the world to kind of celebrate this kind of coming of the season and the change of the season. And
then it kind of leads up to basically Halloween as well. I mean, that's one big one we kind of know about, celebrate, pretty much celebrate, don't know, knowing what we're celebrating.
so basically Halloween is celebrated on the 31st of October, and apparently it was a pagan tradition, and it's kind of like it's more towards the end of autumn, and you're kind of celebrating the end of autumn. And it was originally to do with celebrating the saints and the martyrs and the dead, and kind of exploring that area. And it's quite interesting because there are other cultures as well that do this same sort of tradition. In America, you see that they dress up in kind of the Halloween costumes, and you even have in England here they have like bobbing for apples and things like that. So,
I think in Mexico they obviously have the Day of the Dead.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know if probably seen this. If you've seen the film Coco, isn't it?
Have, I love that film.
That's pretty much telling you all about the Day of the Dead. They use that. I love that film too. But it's also they kind of uses it as well. I think they celebrate it on the 1st and the 2nd of November, but sometimes they also use the 31st of October to basically say the 31st of October. It's more like the children decorate the altars and then invite like the children ghosts or like deceased children to come to visit, and then on the 1st it's more for all others, like the adults, like the deceased adults, to come and visit. It's also because how they see their way of or death as part of life,
I suppose that's really like autumn as well, because obviously everything's transitioning, everything's dying, everything's going down, and then obviously it's kind of reflected as well in the change of the season. That's what's happening during that season.
And usually also in this particular festival, it's also obviously people remember their ancestors. They celebrate with stories, with anecdotes. They usually also offer food. All kinds of food, flowers, and they also basically, not for themselves, but they also offer food for the dead, and then again drinks too. So I think basically they're saying they drink the favorite beverage of their deceased ancestor.
Whoa, okay.
So that's pretty good. So one thing is obviously they decorate their altars and with like flowers, like I think the main flower is marigold.
Yeah, because when you see them, because obviously in the movie you see it, but also you can see it in like pictures online. You can see like these like brightly orange coloured sort of wreaths they wear, and they pad them on the floors as well.
And I think the scent is to invite like the visiting death. So basically they expect like their dead ancestor to visit, and then basically come together So that's why they put flowers on the altar. They put food on the altar. They can share with each other. It's not just for them. It's also for obviously their ancestors.
Do they do like parades? Because I remember seeing lots of pictures of parades and of skeletons and things.
Yeah.
And they parade through the streets, don't they?
Yeah, I think
they have
these. They have these skeleton icons. I would say it's a bit like an icon, and I don't know if it's maybe like dolls or like cardboard skeletons as well. They're very famous, icons, I would say, and they also used in decoration, and I think also in like telling stories by. Or like kind of creating a bit of poetry or literature. So they use these as well to basically either mock different habits or like, how people behaved or what was their significant characteristic. So to remember like the deceased family members as well. So
interesting, isn't it?
And you see, I think they have a certain name. I don't know what the name is at the moment, but they're called like calaveras or calavados or something like that.
And what's that for?
I think it means like skeleton in Mexican. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So this is quite traditional as well, isn't it?
Traditional, yeah. I always have like a picture in my mind of what it looks like, you know. I would really like to go there and see what happens.
I think they also prepare during the year with like bringing possessions of the people. Like, I don't know, things that belong to that person, so you can then remember them by. And I don't know if you have like I don't know, what would you? I mean, if you let's say you would take part in this festival, what would you probably bring, or is like from one of your ancestors? Do you have anything? I mean, I don't know if I have.
Probably bring a curry. My nan loved curry. Bring some curry and some sambal. She's obsessed by sambal. It's like a curry thing. I don't know.
So I think it's like by these things you remember them by, you know.
Yeah. It's kind of like reflected in lots of. You see this a lot in other cultures as well, and we're going to come to this later. We see this in the Chinese culture where kind of the families come together and they're sharing food and they're kind of celebrating together. It's a really lovely time.
Yeah. And you have like, so this is like a Mexican day or Day of the Dead, and then you have like a bit different festival in Korea, South Korea, which is
this is
Chuseok festival.
The Chuseok festival.
And this is a bit, again, it's combining different things from different things. They also obviously celebrate their ancestors and so on and visit graves, but they also it's time for family coming together. It's time to again see what the harvest brought, be thankful for what you've got.
I think I remember when we were researching it, they have some really cool customs. Have really great customs. I think they were saying that the original ceremony, the original celebration was a weaving competition. It was a month-long weaving competition. And basically, whoever could weave the longest cloth over the month won this competition. And then it was kind of all linked in with the celebrations at the same time.
Yeah, they basically had two teams, and the team that won was basically treated by the losing team to a massive feast.
That sounds good. I would like that. Know? Maybe we should have a knitting competition or a sewing competition.
But I think it's also with this festival, it's also linked to a lot of games or folk games.
Oh yes, There's a really great game that I was reading about, and of a village game, and apparently you can dress as a cow or a turtle.
Yeah. So what would you dress up as?
I would be a cow.
I think I would be a turtle.
And you basically go to houses and you kind of play music, and apparently they have a lot of other, which is really cool, lots of other things that they celebrate during that time. There's quite a lot of martial arts.
It's a bit competitive
wrestling
as well, like archery. I think I've read about archery too.
It's really great. And obviously, like you guys are going to be seeing coming up over the next couple of weeks, we've got the Mid-Autumn Festival coming up. Yeah. And then we're going to be having displays of
but also it's like in this festival, they also said they obviously celebrate with a lot of food, traditional food, like rice cakes and, I don't know, mung beans and things like that, which we already explored previously. But they also, they also drink the beverage of their ancestor. And they basically had this interesting fact where they said, if you drink the favorite beverage of your ancestor, like probably alcoholic, nothing you will be scared of once you've done that.
Ooh, that's pretty cool.
So that was pretty cool. So you need to find out like what was your favorite drink of your granddad, or
what did my granddad like?
Yeah. So did he like whiskey or rum or beer?
Korean again.
Huh?
Is it Korean culture?
Yeah.
This is Korean culture. Yeah, this is Korean culture.
So I think they drink rice wine.
Yeah,
freshly harvested rice wine.
Apparently, as well, according to some ancient tradition, like in the ancient times, they used to do a lot of moon worship. Yeah. So the shamanic practice of in North Korea was worshipping the moon, and you'll find also there's links between sort of the harvest festival, the moon, and they've got the Mid-Autumn Festival, which is called the Lunar Festival. And what's really lovely as well is I remember when I visited Thailand. Yeah, when I was younger, visited Thailand, and they have at the same time of year in I think it's north in the Chiang Mai, they have a festival where they release all of these lanterns up into the sky.
I bet that's a really beautiful sight, right?
Well, I kind of missed it. Like, I fell asleep.
Were you drunk?
I wasn't drunk, no. No, basically we were traveling around Thailand. And I remember we were traveling up to the north of Thailand, and I just was like, okay, I'm just going to go to sleep because we've been traveling for many days. And then I kind of woke up, and then I woke up to all these lanterns being lit up into the sun. I was like, what's that? And then we were like, oh yeah, like today is the lantern, because it's on a full moon, and all these lanterns get set off into the sky, like thousands of them all up in the sky everywhere. And it's kind of like, I think it's called Yi Peng Festival. And they release all these sort of lanterns up, and it's kind of like to represent good luck. It's like offering up the light to the Buddha, like a gift to the Buddha.
That's
that
really
time
nice.
Of year. It's really
I think
lovely.
In India they have this Diwali Festival, which also is kind of a festival of light. And again, I think they even celebrate this for 5 days. And first they do a lot of preparation and cleaning, and
it kind of means like new beginnings, doesn't it?
Again,
new start, new beginnings.
And it's also again, the main day of the festival is usually the darkest night, or the darkest night, so that you then actually kind of see the light when they lit up all their lamps and candles. And so
I like to learn more about this festival.
About this, what I also found really interesting, because they have like this in different days, and on the darkest night of the month, they basically light everything up, and it's obviously then they worship their deities, or usually it's associated with this goddess of prosperity. I got stuck at this word.
I do remember her name. I remember her name because we had a little girl who used to come and do training with her, and her name was Lakshmi.
Yeah, exactly.
So Lakshmi is the name of this deity, isn't it?
So again, regional wise, it's kind of sometimes they do other deities or worship other gods or goddesses, but basically it symbolizes the victory of lightness over darkness, or good above evil, or knowledge above ignorance, so
it's really cool.
So it's kind of really symbolizes things, and it what I found interesting as well is like on day 4 is basically it's dedicated to the relationship between husband and wife.
Oh,
and
that's lovely.
on day 5 it's it's dedicated to the relationship of your brother or your sister. You know, so again, you have a bit of the family aspect in there. That family comes together. That you basically also celebrate your family bonds and how you connected. I really like that.
Yeah, that is really lovely. They have the similar. You can see it a sort of similar reflection in the Chinese culture as well, in the Mid-Autumn Festival. So this is a festival, and it's also called the Lunar Festival as well. And it's on the 15th day of the 8th month, and it's a really old festival. I think dating about like 200 years, 2,000 years old. But this is a time where all the families come together and they come to celebrate, and it's along, it's having along the same lines as what you were talking about, and they have. They kind of celebrate sort of all the traditional ways that in Chinese culture they have these moon cakes, and obviously the moon. There's a lot of legends around that as well. I like the stories that they tell in the Chinese culture when they're celebrating the Mid-Autumn Festival. So they have lots of different legends that are attached to the festival, to the Lunar Festival. And some of them are really kind of romantic, and some of them are kind of like...
So do they include like lions and dragons and
they have,
or beasts?
They have like a lover's story. And they say like on the day of the Mid-Autumn Festival, because obviously it's a full moon, they have this bridge that forms across the moon, and the two lovers will finally kind of meet at this point. But the stories are really cool. So the stories like about Chang'e and about Hoi, her husband, who is an archer. And it's kind of like a fantasy, and it's quite a long story. I'll try and explain it, but they had like, at that time apparently, they had loads of suns in the sky, like all these burning suns, 10 suns burning, and the archer decided to save the human race and like shoot all these suns down out of the sky. Obviously, he left one, which is what we have now. And as a kind of like a reward for doing this, the Jade Emperor gave him the immortal elixir, the elixir of immortality.
Okay.
So it's like super, super amazing. But only one person can take this elixir and have immortal life. But because the Chang'e and the archer, they were lovers, they were husband and wife, and they didn't want to be separated from each other, so they didn't want to take it. Otherwise, one would live forever and the other one would die. Okay. So they kind of left it to one side, and the story goes that one of the archer's students came to take the elixir, and he wasn't a particularly very nice person. He's a bit of a meanie. And he went to take the elixir, but Chang'e caught him, and at that point she took the elixir herself, and just to save the situation and everything, and then she ended up going up into the moon and becoming immortal. So it's like a really sad story.
And then basically they reunite one day of the year, or how does that happen?
He basically had to live his whole life staring at the moon and trying to find her reflection in the moon, and that's why he used to kind of make these moon cakes, and they have all this celebration. Right, and then this one day, apparently one day of the year, there's a bridge that forms across the moon, and they're able to be like reunited together
for one night
only.
Okay.
And also in the moon they have the Jade Rabbit. Have you heard this story about the Jade Rabbit?
I've heard but I don't know the story. No.
So apparently in the moon as well they have this rabbit, and he has an elixir. It's to do with the pill of immortality as well. And this is a really, really this is one of my favourite stories and it's basically like these three beggars kind of came down from the heavens, and they were trying to find an animal that they could somebody who could they could instill this pill of immortality on. And so they were trying to find an animal, and they were saying, oh, we're really, really hungry, and they had a fox and a monkey and a rabbit, and they all had to try and find food for the beggars. And then the story goes that the Jade Rabbit basically couldn't find any food to give to these beggars. They were obviously disguised as the immortals, as they do, and the rabbit couldn't find find anything. So basically, he threw his own body onto the fire and sacrificed himself.
Oh,
yeah, so sweet.
So what? And then he became immortal.
And then because of his self-sacrificing nature, they decided to make him immortal, and they put him up in the moon. And apparently, if you look into the moon, you can still see the reflection of the Jade Rabbit. You can see his outline.
Check it out next time.
Yeah. See if you can see. I've seen it. I have actually seen it. You can see it, like a little bunny in the moon. If you look really closely, you can see. yeah. So this is like, these are the kind of stories. They're so cute. They're really sweet. Yeah. So sometimes when you go into a Chinese supermarket and you buy the mooncakes, you'll see they have like pictures of rabbits on there, like little rabbits.
Oh, that's where they come from.
Yeah,
okay.
That's what it represents. So yeah.
Good. Yeah, I think it's like also a lot of these festivals around the world, you know, if it's like Mexican, Brazil or Europe or wherever, they obviously have like their own foods, they have their own drinks, they celebrate with their friends and families. Obviously sometimes, it's connected with light.
And the moon,
also, I think in the UK they have this Bonfire Night, don't they?
Yeah, Bonfire Night. It's not
different
really.
again, yeah.
Bonfire Night is more to do with the celebrating of Guy Fawkes. So it's blowing up the Houses of Parliament. So it's kind of not really related to autumn, but it is at the time of autumn. Yeah, and I can see how it could kind of be related. Yeah, but unfortunately not.
No.
But we do have other things that we celebrate, like the Harvest Festival, and we do have other festivals that we're celebrate, like Halloween and things like that. And and I think in general, even if you don't have those festivals, people just generally tend to see the change of the season, and they kind of like, oh, okay, it's change of the season now, and you need to look after your health and all this kind of thing.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, no, it's really good. I really like the Chinese Mid-Autumn Festival. I think that's a really lovely
I think we will explore this a bit in detail in a later session anyway.
Yeah.
So this is not really our topic today.
No. But it's so good for you guys to know, because in like a couple of weeks' time, we're really going to be looking at the Mid-Autumn Festival. So you guys can come back and join us. I think it's on the 3rd of October. So you can come and join us for like a celebration, and we have some tea ceremony. You can see all about Chinese martial arts and dancing, and I think each culture has a different way of expressing and exploring the autumn festivals, like with the dancing and things. So
but I think it's also, if you look at other cultures, let's say other festivals that are a bit more modern, that don't have that like 1,000 years roots. So you obviously, one big one is in Germany, is the Oktoberfest.
Oh yeah, don't you just drink lots of beer?
I think they do.
A big beer festival?
I think they do. But obviously, I've never been. But I mean, there's lots of festivals around, and they are celebrated all over the world. But originally, this festival was basically a celebration of the Bavarian prince when he married his princess. So Prince Ludwig, when he married his princess Therese of Saxe-Hildburghausen in 1810, they basically invited the whole city of Munich to celebrate with them. And that's where it's kind of originated. It's come from. Yeah.
So what do they actually do in this festival?
So they basically they celebrated with horse races and with other games as well.
Have you been to it?
I have never been to it. No. And I think also they're not doing any horse races anymore. That stopped at like 1950s or so, or 1970s. I'm not so sure. But again, this is like a festival known for, like millions of people go there, but it's specifically to the south of Germany. Again, also people wearing traditional clothes and so on, and it's mainly known for its beer, but it's also not everyone can sell their beer there. So it's basically, you can only people that obviously follow certain rules and that are breweries in Munich can basically sell beer on that festival.
Wow,
in these like special mugs and so on.
Oh, okay.
So,
are there any other festivals that you can think of?
I quite like also there is a like really modern festival in America. It's called the Balloon Festival. So
Balloon?
Yeah, Balloon Festival. So it basically it's
like literally balloons.
This is it's a really modern one because it's originated in 1972, and it was like an anniversary of a radio station, and they basically said like how many hot air balloons can we bring together.
Oh, so it's like, I thought it meant like blowing up balloons.
No, it's hot air balloons.
Oh, it's hot air balloons.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
So it's hot air balloons, and
that's what I was like
they basically it's in Albuquerque in New Mexico as well.
We do have a balloon festival here in the UK as well.
Do they?
Yeah,
so
we
this
do.
this is the biggest one. So,
is it? Oh, right, okay.
So it's like a 9-day event in the first week of October, and they have like up to 500 air balloons. So they started with just 13, and now it's like massive, and they also light up.
Do they?
So I thought this is pretty spectacular. If ever I will be there in October, I would probably watch it.
Yeah, it sounds really cool.
And also, it's like I think also in Europe they also have these art festivals where sometimes I don't know. It's for example in England. I think I've seen this too as well. Like sometimes in Bournemouth they do this with like. Is it also where they light up sculptures?
Yeah,
and
they do it in
things like
Southampton and they do it in Bournemouth.
Yeah. So, but I think this is called like Nuit Blanche, and it's like an arts festival, and I think that came from Paris, but it's also a place where like museums and galleries are open and offer free exhibitions and installations. I quite like this sort of stuff, so I probably wherever you are, you might want to watch out for stuff like this, you know.
Yeah, they do have lots of different like festivals. Yeah. I think in Southampton they celebrate different festivals as well. So like Diwali and Mid-Autumn Festival and lots of other festivals. You can look online. You can go online and find out all about them and find out what's nearest to you and go and explore. Maybe you can go and explore different cultures. It's good to get out there and see and learn about all these different cultures and experience them. We learned some amazing things, haven't we? It's been really interesting.
I think I would like to try some of these of whatever we learn. Or it kind of will be a bit of a guest or something, you know? Yeah. Do a bit of rituals and see how different people deal with each other, and also celebrate their own culture.
Yeah. Well, I think that's just like a few of the festivals. We want to mention these, bring in the autumn, and when you're thinking about autumn yourself, you might be like in the Halloween. I mean, in the Halloween season, they have all these pumpkins and all the traditional foods that are sort of brought out that time of year.
Yeah.
So it's a really lovely time of year, and it's a time just to kind of like transition, let go of things, and moving forward, and new beginnings. So this kind of full moon is like a new beginning. So maybe you guys at home can think about, if you're going to start some new projects or what you've got on the horizon, and sort of take from these festivals and move forward.
Just let us know as well.
Yeah.
So we can try some too.
Yeah, great. Yeah, so we hope you've enjoyed our talk today, and if you want to share any of your traditions with us as well, you can send us a message and let us know. As we mentioned before, we've got our Mid-Autumn Festival coming up in a couple of weeks, so you guys can watch that and look at all of the different celebrations that we're going to be exploring. We've got lots of dancing and traditional Chinese dancing and martial arts. We have lion dancing, and we've also got a few special guests coming along as well.
Okay, I'm quite intrigued.
So you'll have to tune in and find out who those people are. So so I think it's going to be on the 3rd of October, so you guys can come and watch us then. And then you can see how the Chinese explore the autumn festival or the lunar festival.
So will there be food? That's always the question.
There will be food. There's always food, Janine. There's always food. Yeah, we have these lovely moon cakes, which maybe maybe this weekend we can explore and we can introduce you to them. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, I like to try those.
Yeah. Sounds good. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much for watching us, and we'll be back next time to have a chat with you about our next topic. Okay. Thank you so much. Take care now.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.